Welcome back inside the Broncos studio for an edition of Broncos HQ. I'm your host and team reporter, Elisa Hernandez, next to the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater. It's divisional week. Having clinched the #1 seed in the AFC, the Broncos will be coming off their bye week, ready to host a playoff game for the first time since the 2015 season. The Broncos will host the Buffalo Bills at Empower Field at Mile High in a rematch of last year's wildcard game. Taking a look back to last year, let's flash back to what head coach Sean Payton had to say following the team's playoff loss.
That's always a bitter pill to swallow, and yet it'll go down, and then it's got to fuel you and light a fire in the direction we need to go. And look, one of the things we learned early on is we got to find a way to play these games at home. You know, that's another thing that's important.
Steve, fast forward to a year later, the Broncos have done just that. The Broncos have secured home field throughout the playoffs and hold a 17-5 all-time record at home in the postseason. Knowing what the Bills are capable of, how big of an advantage is this?
I think it's a pretty big advantage, and Sean Payton mentioned last year that, hey, the goal is not just to make the playoffs, but to make the playoffs run through Denver, and they did just that with an 8-1 record at home this year, which is fantastic.
Yeah, head coach Sean Payton laid out the goals. It was win the division, best seeding possible, and then go on to win the Super Bowl. That all starts this Saturday.
Yeah, it starts, and man, it's so similar to the 2015 season when that team did pretty much the same thing, having that home field advantage here for the throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, using that crowd is definitely going to be an advantage as well. When you look at Josh Allen versus Bo Nix, this is a matchup that people, I feel, have been waiting for since that wild card loss last year. How do you see them performing?
Well, Bo Nix will be playing his first divisional playoff game, and I say it's way better to have 76,000 fans rooting for you than rooting against you. And but I think that having that home field advantage definitely is going to help, because he'll have that crowd noise to his advantage, where they'll be pretty quiet when he's in the huddle. Just the opposite for Josh Allen. We know Josh Allen, he's a beast. We all know that. But I think that him playing here in the Mile High City, when I say Mile High City, 5,280 feet above sea level, it's kind of difficult to breathe once you get up here. So I think it's a much different deal than if we were playing them in Buffalo.
As I mentioned, the Broncos just have to win 2 more home games in order to advance to Super Bowl 60. So what are your keys to the game?
Well, number one, I think we have to start fast. We can't dig a hole for ourselves. We got to make sure we come out and execute. Secondly, we got to keep Josh Allen on the sidelines, and that means we got to run the ball. We got to get the ball to the running backs. We got to keep that going, because when Josh Allen's on the sideline, he's not on the field making plays. And finally, we got to force some turnovers. We forced 2 turnovers just a couple of weeks ago against the Chargers, and we got to pick up that same energy for this week. Come out and we got to lay it on those guys.
Yeah, Pat Surtain II mentioned that this defense really needs to prevent Josh Allen from extending plays with his legs and not extending a play that isn't necessarily there, but he buys that time by running around.
He does that. That's better than most quarterbacks in the league.
That's true. Well, this defense led the NFL in a variety of categories this season, and a big piece of that defense is second-team All-Pro safety Talanoa Hufanga. After practice, I caught up with him as the team prepares for their divisional matchup. This team will host the Bills in the divisional round. What challenges does their offense present?
Big challenge. Definitely have a great running game. Obviously, an MVP type quarterback that's back there that can go out there and make plays on the run, standing in the pocket. And for us, it's just being detailed on our assignment, coming into the stadium with a bunch of energy and go out there and try to get a win.
Fresh from the bye week, what's the key to starting fast?
Mentality. You know, you just got to understand that you got to be prepared. If you're not prepared, you're not going to start fast. And so we're excited for it, and that's what we're preparing for, to go out there and start, but also finish.
Being one of the captains on this team, what have you shared with the younger guys about your playoff experience?
It doesn't come around a lot. I've been fortunate enough to be in the playoffs 4 out of 5 times, but these moments are sometimes you might only get this chance once, and you got to make the most of that chance. And when you go out there, you play every snap like it's your last.
This city hasn't hosted a playoff game in a decade. What are you looking forward to the most on Saturday?
Man, I've already heard these fans for over the season now, but I think they're going to take it up a notch and definitely have to communicate more defensively, because that's got to go out there, but it definitely is an atmosphere that we'd love to be a part of.
This defense has wreaked havoc on quarterbacks all season. When you look at guys like Pat Surtain II and Zach Allen, both Pro Bowlers and all pros this year, how can they help set the tone on Saturday?
Man, I love both of those guys. Their play on the field, the type of guys that they are. They're leaders on the team. They make plays. Zach Allen setting the edge all the time. PS2 covering guys all over the field. But I also like some of the additions to that defense. Talanoa Hufanga at safety, Drake Greenlaw at the inside linebacker position. Both of those guys playing at a high level. But those guys both have experience playing in the Super Bowl. So some of the guys may need to lean on them just when things get tough throughout the game. So I love what they're doing on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, we're always looking for that dark horse to play their best football. So, Steve, who is your dark horse for the divisional round?
My dark horse is going to be the running backs room. Everybody's talking about the quarterbacks, and yeah, we got to stop Josh Allen. Bo Nix has got to do his thing, get calmed down, settled in there. But, man, R.J. Harvey, Tyler Badee, and Jaleel McLaughlin, I think they're going to have a good game. And they're going to have a good game in order for us to win this game, because we got to pound their defense and make sure that we can keep our defense off the field a little bit.
Steve, you really picked your dark horses there, and offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi also touched on that point earlier in the week, saying that it's always a goal to have a good run game plan. And once you get that going, it's pretty easy to stick with, especially when you're playing in very physical games like the Broncos are expecting to play on Saturday. Well, that will do it for this week's edition of Broncos HQ. I'm your host and team reporter, Elisa Hernandez, next to the Hall of Famer, Steve Atwater. A reminder, the Broncos will host the Bills on Saturday at Empower Field at Mile High. Kickoff for the divisional round is set for 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment below, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you and hear you at the game.